Hey guys, it's Agnes. It has officially been 2 months since I posted my first couple of videos, um, but that's ADHD for you, I guess. Also, I'm not very used to being in front of a camera, so I, every time I tried to start making a video, I was like, maybe nobody wants to hear it, nobody wants to listen. And then I realized, in perspective, it's really more of a video log of things that I've done over the year, more than if anybody actually watches. But also, for those of you who watched my first couple videos, that's really awesome. Thank you so much for that. So over the last 2 months, I've obviously been reading, and I said in my first video that I wanted to try and start with working on my pacing for my reading and getting my stamina back up. Over the last 2 months, I've tried to do that, and I've only seemed to have read, I think, maybe two or three books in both of those months. So largely that's due to the fact that a lot of the books that I want to have are not available in my library. And also, if they are available, then they're really popular books. So I've had to wait for sometimes like 2 or 3 weeks just to get an audiobook that's on there, or um, wait for something to become available. And physically, I've not been able to read books much because of work and all of that stuff. Also, I forgot to mention that I'm standing up today. I am in the same place. I'm just standing up because I feel like if I sit down, then I won't I won't be as productive. So I'm standing up today, and here's my little Edgar Allan Poe here. Here's some more books that I have. Here's my TV in view, and a K-pop merch box there, and some of my stuffed animals. But I also wanted to talk about the fact that this year I'm trying to do my very first reading journal. Uh, and so far it's been going well. It's not going exactly how I planned it to be. And I will, in just a second, explain what it looks like. But yeah, I will talk about that first, and then I will talk about the books that I have already read this year so far over the last 2 months and give my ideas on them. Okay, so this is my reading journal. The front part got a bit smudged, so I'm not the front part, the cover got a bit smudged, and it's not really a traditional looking reading journal. I've never done one before, so I just decided to use a notebook that has graph paper just so it can be a little bit more aesthetically easy to look at. The very first page, I tried to do daily uh, daily page counts, and then once again, ADHD. I just forgot for a few days, and it really got too far to where I couldn't even look back in my memory and start marking them down. So really, I only got the first 12 pages of January filled in. But with these first few days, I managed to read at least something every single day. Um, Even if that was only 1 to 10 pages. If it wasn't from 1 to 10 pages, it was over 40 pages. And a lot of that is due to reading audiobooks or listening to audiobooks and uh, doing that stuff. But on here, so I may not be able to, I may not finish the rest of this because I've already missed, a whole entire month of February. But on here as well, I have the best book of the year that I will have read, and then the worst book of the year that I will have read. And then I have here the reading goals that I've set for myself. So I have my A to Z challenge that I'm trying to do, which I've got some books done already for that. And I have met and not met for all three of these. Then I have read all the Jane Austen books. So far, I'm still on the very first one. Like I said, reading physically is kind of tiring, and I think reading Jane Austen is better when you're reading physically, so I'm just taking that kind of slow. And then next, I have read 3 nonfiction books. I'm not a nonfiction reader most of the time, so I'm trying to challenge myself to read at least 3 of them this year. Um, and I'll explain a little bit more after that. So here is my second page. It's just my log. So I've got title, author, genre, page number, and type. So far, all of the books that I've read are right here. Got She is a Hunting, Gentleman's Guide, Lady's Guide, And then 2 books that I haven't talked about because I read those in February. But it's Lavender House and Felix Ever After. Let's see. So I've got about 3 pages for those. And then we start with my actual monthly lists. So all of the monthly lists look like this. It's backwards so you can't really see it. But I have my January, and that's the same for every other month. It's just the month title. Pages read, favorite of the month, least favorite of the month, and then which challenge I was trying to fulfill while doing it. Here is the TBR, and then here is the calendar. So I'm not really logging when I started a book. I'm logging when I finish, because most of the time I'm already logging when I started a book in my story graph. So I don't really use Goodreads because I never really got used to using Goodreads, and I think Storygraph is a little more simple. So I've got when I ended a book, and I ended 3 books in the month of January, which is great. I started most of them before it was the first of the year anyway, so I just finished all those throughout the beginning. But specifically, I want to talk about the TBR. So for each month, I have a TBR of potential books that I want to read. This did not go too well for either of the months so far, for very specific reasons. So I chose 4 books for each month, and I have She is a Haunting, Saha, a novel, which is a translated novel, Sense and Sensibility, and 10 Things That Never Happen. So I tried to choose a theme for each of these books. So for She is a Haunting, it's a horror book. Saha, a novel, is a translated book. Sense and Sensibility is a Jane Austen book, and 10 Things That Never Happened is a new release. So if you don't have things like Audible, which I don't have because I don't have a lot of subscriptions, that's why I only use Libby, and anything anything that I already own, because I don't spend a lot of money on books. So if you don't have subscriptions, like I don't, you'll have to either wait until somebody requests that book in the library, or wait until it becomes available somewhere else. With Sense and Sensibility, like I said, it's a Jane Austen novel, so I'm taking my time with that one, which means I did not finish it within the month of January or February. Then Saha, a novel, is a translated book, and I don't want to read translated books that are simply like popular books that are easy to find. I want to find something that actually calls to me. So even though it wasn't available in my library, and it wasn't available, through audiobook that I could find. And like I said, no Audible subscription. So that one was difficult to find. So I never got to that one during January. But I did finish She is a Haunting, which is great. My favorite book of January was Gentleman's Guide. I think I talked about that already. And then my least favorite was She is a Haunting. If anybody wants to hear my thoughts about She is a Haunting, I will gladly make a small video about that. And this arrow here next to Sense and Sensibility is just showing that I'm moving to the next month with that one. With February, like I said, it's the same thing. February had just finished, so I didn't finish marking this stuff in just yet, but I will. But my TBR for this was Jane Eyre, which once again did not finish, or did not get to actually. The Bluest Eye, The Secret History, and What My Bones Know. Once again, audiobook problems and physical reading situations arise, but also with The Bluest Eye, Toni Morrison is such a popular author that at my local library, there are 5 copies of The Bluest Eye, and only yesterday, actually, I don't know if it was yesterday or earlier today, but only within the last 24 hours did I even get the notification for the hold that I put on it on Libby. I requested that 3 weeks ago, so that took a long time to get, but I'll be finishing that probably by tomorrow, honestly. The Secret History I own physically, and I had already started reading it, so a lot of my physical books I started reading and then I stopped reading. There are a couple of books like that on here that I own physically that I just never finished. And then What My Bones Know, I don't have it physically, nor do I have it on audiobook. So yeah, I think it's available on Libby, but I don't remember if I put a hold on it or not. But yeah, so in this month, I finished Lavender House and Felix Ever After. I made a mistake here that said I did it here, that I finished it this day, but I actually finished it the week after. That's just me not counting correctly. But yeah, because I only read 2 books this month, my pages read, I don't remember because math. And my favorite book out of the 2, it was a toss-up because I really liked both of them. I would have to say that I think Lavender House wins by like just this much because I really loved Felix Ever After. I thought it was great. But yeah, that's for February. But yeah, the rest of it's just the same. March, April, May, June, July, August, blah, 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 blah. And this is, like I said, my very first time doing a reading journal. So I took some ideas from a lot of different people. And let's see. And so I saw this on someone's video. I cannot remember currently who, but it is basically a March Madness type thing where you take your best rated books from all the months and you choose to see who the best book is all year that you read. I thought that was really fun. And then on the next page, I have bingo. I'm trying to get a clear board rather than just have a 5 and 5. But I've been specifically reading things to try and fit these challenges. These are just things that I made up. I saw some on some people's videos, but a lot of it I just tried to think of things that I wanted. So it may overlap with some people's things. So we have finish a series, read before bed, which I need to cover. Read over 500 pages just in general. 2024 release, a rant review. Let's see, a translated book, an adapted book, a disability rep, a one-word title book, an older female protagonist book, a black nonfiction book, fantasy book, my free space, a banned book, a sci-fi book, read a sequel, read for 20 minutes, black fiction, which I have to mark in for Felix Ever After, read in public, a queer book, read to someone, complete any kind of challenge that I've set for myself, post a review, and rec a book, and nonfiction book as well, just in general. Because like I said, I have a hard time with that. And then on here, it's my buzzword challenge for the year. I think this is just like an easily accessible buzzword challenge. Like if you type in buzzword challenge, it'll all show up. So I have what that list is. And down here, I'm just indicating that this is what it is. So far for the buzzword challenge, I have numbers 3 and 4 put on here, which is character name in the title and nature words. So Felix Ever After, Felix is our main character. In Lavender House, lavender is found in nature. So I put that there. So that's fun to do. I have marked down the amount of books I read. This isn't very pretty. I just colored it in green. But altogether I have 80 spaces because I figured I probably won't read 80 books this year. But I needed to fill up the whole page somehow. And then I just have the list for A to Z challenge, which right now I only wrote down She Is a Haunting, but I have Felix Ever After and Lavender House that I need to put down. And maybe one other one. But yeah, so it's not the cutest thing, but it's mine and I like it. And when I look at it, I get a sense of like accomplishment because it's something I'm technically still keeping up with, which is great. So yeah, so to talk about the books that I actually finished over the last 2 months, starting with January, I finished She Is a Haunting and The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue and Lady's Guide to Petticoats and Piracy. I did not finish the 3rd book again yet, but I wasn't going to be too hard on myself since I already read the whole series anyway. I read the series a couple years back, so I'm not too stressed about finishing the last book, but it is just as good. I just was like, okay, I need to like move on. Okay. So I just kind of moved on from it because the audiobook lapsed and I was like, it's fine. I have all the physical versions anyway. Um, but in January, I read 1,280 pages. My favorite book was Gentleman's Guide. It's like probably going to be a lifelong favorite. It's just a fun romp. Um, and my least favorite was She is a Haunting. I had a lot of thoughts about She is a Haunting. It felt like pulling teeth to finish that book, honestly. Like, I watched somebody else's review, an actual Asian American, talking about this book, and a lot of the points that this person made, I was like, okay, so I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy, right? I just felt really no connection to the main character, no connection to any of the characters. The ending was really good, but it was a slow burn book, but in the way that really nothing happened, and then things started happening, and then nothing happened, and then things started happening again, and then the ending was good, in my opinion. But yeah, so it wasn't a book I really cared all that much about. And that satisfied the A to Z challenge for She is a Haunting. Like I said, only finished 2 of those. I really wanted to get to 10 Things That Never Happened because I love Alexis Hall books. I'd said that before already, but I love Alexis Hall books. So those are 2 of the 3 books. The second one is A Lady's Guide. That one is, I still rated it pretty high. I think I rated it 5 stars, maybe 4.5, because the series itself is great. Gentleman's Guide just speaks, ironically, a little bit more to my feelings as a person. But the author Mackenzie Lee does a great job with characterizing all of the siblings in this series. So all of the siblings they all have their own problems, but they're all very strong characters because they're all very strong-willed, and I just really love it. So for February, like I said, only 2 books, but for Lavender House, it's a book set in, like, I think it's the 1940s or something, and maybe it's 1950s. But basically it's about a cop. At the very beginning, this isn't spoilers, but at the very beginning of the book, like, we're in a bar, and he had just been outed the day before, and he's an ex-cop, like, he's a cop, so he got fired, and he's thinking of sewer sliding, and some woman comes in and she's like, I was looking for you. I've got a case for you. And he's like, okay, I guess I'll go to your house. And it's really just like every single character in the book that actually matters is a queer character. And it's so fun. And even though most of the characters are white, there are main characters in the book who are important main characters who are people of color, which I like. And everybody's backstory is different too. So it's not like stereotypical like white gays, like when you, I guess, think of a historical drama about gay people in New York. It's oh, are they in no, I think they're in California. They're not in New York, they're in California. But it's not that whitewash type idea. Even though the main character is a white male, it's only that way, I think, because we need to have as little pushback as possible, and he already has enough pushback being gay. So it made for just like the perfect amount of like struggle without being so taxing to the person reading it. And then the next one is Felix Ever After. I'd been putting off Felix Ever After. Actually, I have it in my list of TBR. That was supposed to be for this month, actually. I just got to it pretty early. I got to it a little bit earlier because I had nothing else that I could actually get to in a short amount of time. Like, for March, I have The Princess Bride, Felix Ever After, A Clockwork Orange, and Educated. And like I said, physical books take a long time, and I need a break for those. But Felix Ever After was available for audiobook, so I just borrowed it, and I read it whenever I could. So Felix Ever After was finished last month. and I loved it. I was so happy. um, one, like there is barely there. I mean, this sounds really bad. There are barely any white people in it, simply for the fact that the main character is black. His best friend is mixed with black and Indian. His love interest is half white and like half Latino, I think. Well, I don't want to say love interest, but his love interest. Um, and a bunch of other people. And there are white characters who are integral to the story, but our main people aren't. Um, it's a good. Okay, I had to do a quick cut. But anyway, so yeah, so they are main characters, but our main people are people of color. So also Felix is trans. He is FTM, transgender, and it is past his transition. So it is still a self discovery book, which I think is awesome, especially for people who feel as if they're trans, but they don't feel like they fit into that binary idea of I was a girl and I became a boy or whatever. It was no, I knew I was trans the whole time, but now that I've started transitioning, it doesn't even now I don't feel like one word really specifies how I actually feel. And it's a really great gender discovery once again for him. And then also the romance is good too. I said before that romance is not like the main genre that I like to read as, you know, well, genre? Yeah, as itself. Like that's not mainly the whole point, right? Um but for this, I knew that it was focused a lot more on self-discovery and things like that. And the romance just happened to be a part of it. And it was also kind of like a whodunit, but with teenagers. So yeah, I thought that was really a great book. But I think Lavender House was it made me less angry. Felix Ever After made me angry only because there needed to be some kind of plot twist, and so they had to like lead you in a direction, and you had to go on that journey. But it was an enjoyably, how do I say it? The anger was fun. Like I was never like, I've got to put this book down. I cannot deal with these characters ever again. I was like, ooh, this person makes me so annoyed. I wonder what we're gonna say to this person next time we see them. Or, oh my god, I'm so frustrated with this decision, but I understand they're teenagers, but I know that it's gonna be a happy ending. And the meaning behind Felix Ever After is actually really beautiful. And I wanted to put that um, in my buzzword challenge, but I don't think it was so obvious. So I didn't add it to it. So I just added it to um, main character's name in the title. Um, this book is getting, not book, this video is getting a little long. So other than that, I will try to be better about posting, but I, I don't know. The next time I will get the energy to post. I thought about posting this video like for 1,000 years, and I finally just got up and did it. So hopefully this is 24 minutes of background noise for you if you need background noise. Other than that, thank you for watching. If you're watching all the way through, thank you for watching all the way through. I will see you guys later. Bye.